everyone, welcome back to Black Equity. Today's video, I'm going to be doing a comparison between a live-in non-traditional flip and a more traditional quick flip. I'm going to be talking about the pros and the cons of both, and I'm also going to be telling you at the end which one, based off of my experience, that I enjoyed the most and which one I would recommend for someone else to do. So let's start with the definitions, and let's start with a live-in flip. A live-in flip is one which you buy a property and you live in it as your primary place of residence, and over time you renovate the property before you eventually sell it. This is what I did for my very first flip, and if you want to know more about how that turned out, check out these two videos here. Now let's talk about the pros. The first pro is the costs. Because it's your primary place of residence, that means that holding costs are a non-issue. And what I mean by this is that you don't have to pay for the place that you are living in as well as the flip property, because they are one and the same. When I was doing my first flip, I got a lot of questions asking me how I could afford to carry the costs of owning a flip property and live somewhere else. And I didn't need to do that because I was living in the flip property. Another thing associated with the costs is the fact that because you're living in the place, you are easily able to take your time to find things that will save you money. Now, if you want to know how much I saved on my very first flip, check out this video because I spoke about the fact that I could save a lot of money, and the reason why I could do that was because I was easily able to take time to find the things that will save me the most money, or find methods that will save me money. The second pro is that it's very beginner or DIY friendly. Because you're living in the place, you're able to take your time and try and figure out things that you can do yourself, and thereby you don't have to pay contractors to do all the work for you. The last thing is tax savings. Now, I can't speak for everywhere in all parts of the world, but where I live right now, which is Ontario, Canada, when you sell your primary place of residence, you are not subject to paying capital gains taxes, and that is a huge savings. When I sold my very first property, as you can find in this video here, we didn't have to pay any capital gains taxes because it was our primary place of residence. Now let's talk about the cons of doing a live-in flip. The first con is that it takes time. You're not easily able to realize the gains or the profits from the flip because you're doing it over a period of months or years. You could have done 4 or 5 quick flips in the time that you used to do just one live-in flip. The second thing is that it's very uncomfortable because you are living in the property. You are essentially living in a construction zone. When we first moved into our live-in flip, we didn't have a kitchen, and that proved really difficult because we had to really maneuver how to cook, and a lot of times we just did things that we could pop in the microwave. So it's really uncomfortable, and you really need to be mentally prepared to live in a construction zone, or else it's something that you may not want to take on. The third con, and I would say the biggest con, is that it's not a great long-term strategy. It's great for beginners and it's great when you want to learn about some construction and DIY things, but it's not a great long-term strategy because unless you want to keep living in a place, moving to different places for a good period of time, then it's not something that you can really continue over the long term. And if you wanted to make this your full-time job, then it's not sustainable because it would take too long to do multiple flips and you wouldn't be able to realize your capital or your profits as quickly. Let's talk about the more traditional quick flip, and I'll start with a definition. A traditional quick flip is one in which you acquire, you renovate, and you sell the property in a very short period of time, usually a couple of weeks or to the most a few months. Now, the pros of a more traditional flip. The first one is that because it's a quick flip, that you're able to recover your capital and your profits more quickly, versus a live-in flip where you can't recover that profits and that capital till the end. And a quick flip, in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, however long it takes you to renovate, then you get your money back. The second thing is because you're getting your money back quickly, it means that you're able to do multiple flips in a period of time. So versus a live-in flip where you would hold the property, for example, for a year or a year and a half or more, in a quick flip, it means that you're able to do multiple flips within that shorter period of time. And this leads me to this third thing, which is there's the potential to make more money. Because you're doing multiple over a period of time and you're able to recover that capital very quickly, it means that over the long term, you're more likely to make more money doing shorter quick flips than you are doing one long live-in flip. Now let's talk about the cons of quick flips. It costs a lot more upfront. I'm talking about the rehab costs, the holding costs, and things that go into the cost of doing business. Whereas a live-in flip, you may actually be able to save a little bit of the money over time to renovate the place. For a quick flip, you really need to have access to the capital that you're going to need to renovate the place. The second con of doing a quick flip is that you're not able to claim it as a primary residence, which means that you are going to be paying taxes when you sell your property. You just have to take it as a cost of doing business, but it's something to note when you're doing a quick flip versus a living flip. The third con of a quick flip is that it does require a greater level of expertise and knowledge to avoid mistakes. When you're doing a live-in flip, you're able to take your time to try and figure out the ropes of construction and of renovations. But when you're doing a quick flip, you need to be able to make quick, spur-of-the-moment decisions that will push your renovations forward without making some grave mistakes that will cost you financially. So here's my conclusion and my preference. If you are a beginner, then a live-in flip is a great way to go. When I started my real estate journey, it was a live-in flip, and that was a great decision because I enjoyed being able to take the time to understand what really was going on behind the stages of a rehab. But it took so much time, and it also cost money over time because I was pouring into the place and I didn't realize the profits until a year later. And that was a bit frustrating because if you need the money or if you want to use the money for other things, you don't have any way to realize that cost unless you do something like refinance, which is a totally different thing. But it's not a good long-term strategy. If you're a beginner, go with the live-in flip. But if you do have some experience or you want to do this constantly and over time, then I would say a quick, more traditional flip is the one for you. If you like these types of videos, please leave me a comment below letting me know. And also like this video, share it with your friends and family, and of course don't forget to subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and let's chat over there. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.